Live. So I am delighted to be joined by Melanie Bundock. She trained with Peter and I as an EFT practitioner many years ago. Do you remember when it was?
I'd like to say 5 or 6 years ago, but I think because I've done kind of more things with you since then. Yeah. But actually, I think probably the first time, maybe even longer than that, I think I came to like one of those kind of borrowing benefits evening. I think that's when I first started. Yeah, I've got my certificate. I could run a look at my certificate, but I think 5 years ago, I think was when I was qualified. But I came to see you before that.
Yeah, so many years ago. She is a very experienced EFT practitioner, and I'm so delighted to have you here. You use EFT in the most magical and miraculous ways. We'll hear about that. So maybe actually to start with, you can share a little bit about what you do.
Okay, well, I call myself a life and mindset coach now because I really, like to challenge people, how they think about things. Because I think mindset is everything. And I would say my two top tools for the transformation process. So my tagline is I help people to tap into their big vision. And my two tools of choice are obviously EFT and the visualization. So yes, vision boards, but I think that the process of visualization is actually the important thing. Some people, they can't visualize. And so for them, I suggest they make a vision board. Some people have got very active imaginations, in which case they don't need a vision board. So it's just the art of visualization.
Fantastic. Thank you. So you use EFT professionally. You also use it in your personal life. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So is there any kind of personal success stories that you would be willing to share with us?
Just, do you know what? I think when you kind of first get introduced to EFT, I think everyone would say, oh, it's a bit odd, isn't it? It looks odd. But then you have successes for yourself, because I had been using it for a long time before I decided to become a practitioner in it. I was following YouTube videos and because it was just really miraculous in the way it worked. And obviously, and I think for any practitioner in any therapy, they usually experience it for themselves first, find that it works, and think, well, actually, it works so well, I want to help others with it. The very first thing I actually used it for was hay fever, bizarrely enough. And I suffered it for years as a child, streaming nose. And I can't remember where I read somewhere that it is good for allergies. And I thought, well, give it a go. And, I did a couple of rounds of tapping, I think just on clearing, and I think I may have followed a YouTube video. I can't even remember. I just kind of made it up as I went along, and just, I choose to clear the feelings I had, the physical symptoms, the runny nose, the sneezing, the itchy eyes, and then tap on feeling well and healthy, and I can breathe easily, and my eyes are, and oh my God, it's worked. And I'm not saying it cured me of hay fever, but I had exactly the same relief as I would have done had I popped an antihistamine tablet. And then I went on to use it for migraines, because again, I was just, every month I was just popping a Nurofen. And but I thought, okay, I'll try it on headaches. And funnily enough, I actually filmed a YouTube video on my old YouTube channel. I did a round of tapping to clear headaches. And I think it's had over 6,000 views, and so many people have liked and commented to say, oh my gosh, that's really helped. And that was just a video I uploaded a few years ago. So I think I probably need to update it slightly. But so they were the first two ways I'd used it, and it was just really successful. And I was just like, wow. Then, I tried it out on a couple of friends, kind of slightly skeptical friends. And again, I cleared a headache. I remember my brother, his contact lenses were really bothering him one evening, and I said, let me try some tapping with you. And his eyes were really red, and he was rubbing them, and he did the tapping. He just humored me, and he said, well, you're a witch or something, clearly, because it's gone. And then in both instances, I texted my friends, is your headache today, or did your eyes stay? And then both were like, yep, we're okay, don't know what you've done to us, but so they were kind of early successes. And then it just evolved the way I use it with my children. And I remember many times taking myself off to the kitchen where the kids were stressing me out, and so even though I really feel like killing my children right now. need to love and accept myself. But so I think just kind of getting through the day, running late, anything where an emotion arises that's anything other than good, just tap it away. And so I think it just became not a habit, but just right, okay, I'm just going to tap now. But I guess it's led me to this point in my life now where I really feel that I've kind of almost become a master of my emotions. I think I know, not every day is fabulous and happy. You wake up and some days you don't feel great. And but then I think it's just having that awareness. Okay, I'm not feeling good right now. What's the root cause of this? Okay, let's do some tapping. Let's clear it, because it's always got an emotional root cause. And I think, the more we can all master our emotions, the better all round our lives are going to be.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. That is so inspiring. And I don't know about you, but because like when you tap a lot, it becomes second nature, I'm sure you find. And for me, like with the finger points, like if I feel a negative emotion, my fingers will automatically just start pressing my finger points. It's like I don't have to think about it, like my body knows what to do. And so it's just so nice that it's a complete knee-jerk reaction, and it sounds like it is for you as well. So lots of mums will hopefully be watching this, because that's, as you know, the area that I work with most. And so you said a really useful phrase, which I think a lot of mums will be able to relate to, even though I feel like killing my kids. I do accept myself.
Really, maybe beating them hard with a stick or something, but
no, but it's just what mums kind of like just feel like in the moment or off the cuff. And I think that is so useful to hear. It's because part of that is just actually acknowledging those feelings, because we can have those feelings and then think, shame or guilt or whatever. But just by kind of like having them present and then start releasing them in the moment, they can just shift so quickly. And I think that is one of the most powerful things for EFT. You can nip those negative emotions in the bud, which is so brilliant.
Yeah. Or even, I would say if you are feeling really stressed, I think even just get yourself to a point of calm is just an improvement than being, and sometimes I'll say, if you're feeling really down, really stuck, really depressed, you're not going to go from there to, hey, everything's fabulous in one round of tapping. But if you get yourself to a point of just feeling better, calmer, at ease, that is such an improvement.
Absolutely. And I will come on to ask you about how you then take it further, because I know that's where your real passion lies. But I just want to stay with the whole mother thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
With. And so how do your kids take to EFT? Because you've obviously been doing it most of their lives now.
Yeah, well, they are just so used to it now. And I would say most of the time, certainly when they were very little, I would say, come on, let's do some tapping. And they would just be willing participants. But as they've got older, got minds of their own, most of the time they will still tap with me. And there are sometimes they go off and do it on their own. There's sometimes, oh, God, tapping again. And so, but because they are so used to it. So my daughter, she likes it particularly at bedtime. Say if suddenly she's just not feeling well, the number of times I've used it. Now, both of my children, they are incredibly healthy. I'm just so, lucky that they, very rarely have time off school. Of course they get sick, but usually we can nip it in the bud with tapping. And, I really genuinely believe that, whether it's placebo or whatever it is, it works. And, so I know sometimes at bedtime, very often my daughter said, oh my gosh, I feel sick. We would tap on, even though I feel sick, reducing the, how nauseous she feels and try to get that down. There was one time last year she had quite high fever, really not feeling well. Again, I think she'd been sick in the morning, but we were supposed to be going to the cinema in the afternoon. And I said, Luna, we'd have to see how you feel. So we did the whole, and I did kind of powerful visualizations as well. Little things like, you have to make it relatable to children. So like, imagine your iPod. It's like only got 20% battery at the moment. Now, as you close your eyes and, little things like, as you hold my hand, imagine I'm charging you up, and you know, so it's less like the power is coming back to you, you're charging up. And she goes, okay, now, so then we'll do a little round of tapping, right? What, you know, what's your battery level now? She's like, oh, it's about 40%. I say, okay, right now you can have a little sleep. That's charging you up even more. So again, it's that whole visualization of feeling better and just giving them something they can relate it to, like, you know, an iPod charging. You've got to use their language. And then more tapping, and then, you know, a couple of hours sleep, and, you know, she was feeling fine. She's like, I'm 100% now. I can go to the cinema. And she did. And she wouldn't, you know, you could see she was brighter, she was happier. I really believe things like tapping and visualization, that mind over matter, it can speed up healing. Because, you know, the other option is you could say, oh, well, do you know what? It's just a bug. You'll be better in 3 days, you know, just sleep it through, and, you know, and just leave them to it. And you tell them they'll be better in 3 days, and they will be better in 3 days. And, you know, I know it sounds a little bit simplistic, but it's just getting them to the way they think about illness as well. Again, sometimes when you hear people say, oh, you know, there's a sick bug at school, you know, oh, you know, we get everything going, we always catch, you know, and, you know, the child ends up believing, oh, yes, I'm going to catch everything going. Whereas I tell my kids, you are really healthy. You very rarely have time off school. You're protected. You're not going to get ill. But the thing is, yes, of course they do get ill sometimes, but then we can just make them heal much, much quicker. So that's my daughter, and actually for both of them, it's our toolbox. And funny enough, I'll share a very quick story. My son had a friend round for a sleepover a few years ago, and my son Ben woke me up and he said, oh, his friend, he goes, my friend, I won't say his name, he goes, he wants to go home, he's not feeling very well, he's got a headache, and it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I thought, what can we do here? And I thought, I didn't actually have any medication in the house, so I gave him a spoonful of undiluted Ribena and said, look, it's quite sweet and syrupy, and said, look, it's kind of just a headache medicine. And then we did a round of tapping. He went back to sleep and he was fine in the morning. I did tell his mum we did that, and she was absolutely fine with it. And it was just so, like, children are, you know, I think adults, we are more cynical. We're like, but children, they do believe things. But I think when you believe in that something's going to work for you, then it will. And I think there will be some people who are going to be so close to tapping that, nope, it's never going to work for me, and it won't work for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's just the words of wisdom that you're sharing. It's just so, it's just like the power of the placebo is so important, which is what you're describing here, you know, like talking about the syrup, and also the words you use with your children. It's like really about being careful with your language and what you say, because our children, as we did, will just take them on to be truths. Those stories that will just the way we have from our parents have taken on, and our teachers and TV, we've taken all that on to be our beliefs, which often can limit us.
Totally.
And so being mindful of what we say to our children is
yeah. And I think just raising children that, you know, that there are no limits. They can, you know, have anything they want. And, you know, I hear themselves kind of start to limit themselves, but I think luckily having me as a mum, they've kind of learned that, you know, no, you don't say that, you know, let's reframe that, let's rephrase that. And my son, he uses a lot more now for his sports performance and playing football. And we always do tapping before every Sunday before a game. He does a little visualization in the car that he's going to have a really great game. Then he does a round of tapping, you know, because sometimes, you know, as the team, they'll hear, you know, oh, we're playing the top team in the league here, they're really good. And then as collectively, they all kind of think, oh, we're going to lose. Then inevitably they're going to have a bad match. But and it's funny, I've spoken to my son's coach about this. Now, my son, I can totally understand, but he doesn't want me to sit and tap with all his teammates. I would, but he's just like, don't even go there. You can tap with me, but you're not tapping with my teammates. But I've said to him, look, there are top sports teams in the United States. There's top athletes, Olympians, performers that are using it. I know there's an EFT practitioner in the States. She just specializes in sports coaching. I think Stacey Vaughan Brooke. I think that, yeah, she just does sports performance, and she does, you know, the literally top league baseball teams, and but these teams don't really want to give their secret weapons away. But sometimes, there've been clips of,
I've seen that.
They're tapping on the sidelines. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more out there using it than we'll let on, because they don't want to give their secret weapon away.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So it's really good. Yeah, sports improvement. I remember when my daughter was little, we used to do tapping with her before she had ice skating exams, and there was certain jumps and stuff she was scared of. So like you say, visualizing doing the jump really well and then tapping on that, or tapping on the fear of falling and those kind of things. So yeah, brilliant. So fantastic. What would your kids say if to their friends about tapping? Do they ever mention it to their friends, or are they kind of?
I don't, not so much. I think they're just both at that age now, the pre-teenage years, where appearances are everything, worry about what their friends think, and that's just kind of that's just how it's going to be. And my daughter did say to me once, actually, she had a gymnastics thing at school, and they all had to take it in turns to do cartwheels or whatever, and she was really worried. She said whenever anyone did anything wrong, everyone would laugh, and not out of malice or anything, but just it's funny when so she said, I sat there and I tapped silently, she said, just so nobody could see me, and tapping on being worried about people. I think she's more worried about people laughing at her than actually not being able to do the thing itself. And I said, did it work? She said, yeah. She goes, they did laugh. She goes, but it didn't bother me. So I was like, that's great. It's just so nice to have that tool that, and, again, when they've got exams that will come up, it's always going to be there. So I hope that it's going to be something they will just fall back on and use. They still prefer me to tap on them. Actually, my son's a little bit old now. He's quite happy to tap himself. My daughter, and it's just quite nice at bedtime. Tapping for a great night's sleep. That's quite often a default one that we, not so much now, because my daughter did go through a phase of not being able to sleep properly. But we've seemed to have overcome that now. So yeah, that's another great way to use it.
So we're going to be chatting a little bit longer, but if anyone watching wants to type in any questions for Mel or myself, then please do type them in the comments. And my eyesight isn't brilliant, so I might get Mel to read them if they do.
I'll see if I can get it on my phone, because I can't see it on my screen here. So carry on. Yeah,
I don't know whether I'm supposed to.
I think we are live. There's yeah. No, if you carry on, I can see any kind of comments here.
Okay, great. So what I really want to ask you to share, which you told me about when we last met, and it must have been quite a few years ago now, is that you were working with your children to manifest a trip to Disneyland or Disney World. And I remember asking you, yes, but what if it doesn't happen? And how do you share those kind of goals or dreams with your children when you're working with tapping in that direction? So I'd love to hear your amazing story.
Okay, so long story short is my daughter always wanted to go to Disney World, and so my other kind of passion, as I mentioned, is vision boards and visualizing. So I said, okay, we'll make a family vision board together. We'll just focus it on Disney. In the meantime, I've been kind of doing a bit of my own work. I've been working with a business coach for a while, and I'd actually visualized being at Disneyland. And so there's lots of little things I did to kind of, it did become an obsession. This is the thing I wanted to manifest. Now, but for me, in my adult mind, I thought in order for it to happen is I'm going to have to have made X amount of money in my business, and then I'm going to book it through a travel agent and pay for it. But really, and this is what I teach, you've got to focus on the end goal. A lot of people come to my workshops and say, I want to manifest £1 million. That actually, no, that's the wrong thing to be manifesting. What do you want the £1 million for? What's the end goal? So I kind of had these, and that's why I kind of talked it through with my business coach. I thought, oh gosh, I must be blocking my abundance in some way, because I can't see how I can afford a trip to Disneyland right now. So I thought, if I could just visualize going to Disney, then that means I've made all this money and we're just going to book a holiday. anyway, so we made a vision board, and long story short, we won a trip last year. It was January 2016. We had a phone call to say we'd won a trip to Disneyland, all expenses paid. And I've actually got the vision board right here that my daughter made. I have it here with all my other vision boards. And we made this March the previous year. So it's like Mickey and Mickey, it's double-sided. We'd made this March the previous year. And again, as I said, children are real believers. She was absolutely adamant. But I never said to her once, we can't really afford it right now. It's really expensive, maybe in a few years' time. I just said to her, you will go one day. I can't tell you when, but it will happen. And so anyway, we won this trip, and it was just incredible. And then I remember you said to me, yeah, but how can you be that confident with the manifesting process? I think you do have to be confident, and you've got to believe in it. But equally, again, with my clients come to my vision board workshops, or anyone who I work with talking about manifesting things, is we've got this goal, but we will say this or something better, or when the time's right. But the other lesson I always teach the children is you will face obstacles, you will face challenges, you're not always going to get everything you want, you will have failures, you'll have disappointments. This is all part and parcel of life. But the important thing is to recognize that every failure or perceived failure, every disappointment, every challenge, every obstacle has got a lesson in it for you. It's going to give you something to learn from, and it's going to enable you to do things differently next time. There's no such thing as a failure. It's just another lesson. And we play this little game sometimes. It's not the most fun of games, but it's just a laugh about it. When things go wrong, or things haven't gone their way, or they're upset, I said, okay, what did you learn from that? What was the lesson? And then now automatically looking for the lesson in that failure or the disappointment, rather than, oh, well, that's it, I'm just going to give up and never try again. Because, yeah, we all do. We're all going to, things are never, and, so what again, just with the children and with my adult clients, is you have that goal, you have that destination, but you might have to go on slight detours, you might hit dead ends, but if you still keep your eye on that vision, you might have to do things differently, you might have to retweak things. Again, it's just like, putting the destination in your sat nav. You've got the destination, but you might hit traffic, you might do a wrong turn, but you backtrack, and then you will eventually get there because you've got your destination. But without the vision, you don't know where you're going. So that's kind of how I view the goal setting. And Disney may not have happened last year, but it would have come at the perfect time for all of us. So we just continue to okay, now what's next? What do we want next? So we're all, at the moment, we're trying to, mustn't use the word try, that's another banned word in the house. We are manifesting.
You are manifesting.
We are manifesting dream home, because, love my house, it's absolutely fine. But, Ben wants a big garden with like football goals, and Bonnie wants a hot tub. So it's a little nightly visualization thing we have, and ultimately, it will come when the time's right. But then I kind of also say to them, but right now it's not an urgent thing, and it's not like we're homeless. It's not like we are very lucky. We live in a nice area. You're close to your schools, because and again, something I've shared recently is that for me right now in my life, personal development, coaching, investing money in myself is the most important thing right now. So yes, I could, because I do want a new car, and I could sit there thinking I'm manifesting a new car, and I could have bought a new car ages ago. But right now, my focus is right. What can I do now? I'm a bit of a course junkie, and I think no. For me, I'd rather invest that money in myself. So I guess where I'm going with this is that it's what's the most important thing for you in your life at this time. So yes, so we say, well, you've been manifesting this house of yours for a long time, haven't you? But it hasn't happened yet. But the house is fine. We're more than happy with what we've got. We're very blessed. We're very lucky. All the big nice house is just kind of my ego, really. I'd love a huge kitchen, and but right now, I want to spend my money on other things instead.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, you are so full of so much wisdom, which I think lots of people watching will be taking on board. If you had one, if for mums watching and they're thinking, well, you know, where would I start with tapping? What would be the one take-home message from this interview that you would love mums to be able to know, so that they can make their tapping journey easier?
I guess the one message I would share is that the one thing I share constantly, it's the most important thing for yourself and your well-being is to feel good. You know, having that control over your emotions, recognizing how you're feeling right now, and doing something to feel good. Now, tapping is the perfect way to elevate yourself from here to here. But you know, for some people, you know, perhaps they haven't had sessions with a practitioner, or they don't know the words, or they don't know, you know, sometimes, you know, just tapping, say, you know, even though I'm feeling, you know, stressed, I choose to feel calm, you know, just bring yourself to a place of calm. That would be the one thing, you know, if tapping's not doing it for you, go out for a walk, ring a friend, watch a funny film. You've got to do something that's going to make you feel good. Just take yourself from the situation. You maybe get someone to, you know, mind the kids for a bit. I think mums have really got to look after themselves, make their self-care a priority, because, you know, we all know that very often, and again, this is something else that I've learned in the last few years, that my self-care is my number one priority. You know, it goes above the children's. Sounds really but it's not selfish, because if I'm in a stressed, frazzled, burnt out place, I'm not going to be a very good parent. I'm not going to be able to look after them effectively. So, you know, things like I do have little trips for myself every 3 or 4 months that I look forward to. And there are some mums saying, oh, I can't leave the children. I can't leave the children. But actually, you know, you probably do both of you the world of good. Yeah. Take yourself off for a little break. You know, even if it's just a night away somewhere, a night in a Premier Inn, yourself and the remote control and a box of chocolates, you know, just something to recharge your batteries. So that's my one advice. You've got to do something to make yourself feel good, and you've got to make your self-care a priority.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So if people want to get hold of you and find out more about your visualizations and how they can manifest all good things in their life, what do they need to do?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's my Facebook page, Melanie Bundock, EFT. I've also got a Facebook group, actually, which is called Tapping Into Your Big Vision. Now, I'm a bit rubbish with sending out emails. I just find it a bit of a chore, but I love going to update my Facebook group. I'm actually working on a little program for business owners and entrepreneurs at the moment. It's still in its really early infancy stage at the moment. It's called the Entrepreneur's Emotional Toolbox. So it's kind of moving away from the mums thing, and it's just, as a business owner, how we've got to master our emotions in relation to our success, the belief in our business, and you know, and the roller coaster of owning your own business. So I guess that's more related to business owners. My next virtual vision board workshop is probably not going to be now till January. But again, if you follow me on my Facebook page, or you drop me a message on via my Facebook page, Melanie Bundock EFT, if you've got any questions, or pop questions in the comments below and I can come back and answer them later. Or my Facebook group is Melanie Bundock. No, but it's not. It's Tapping Into Your Big Vision.
And you can, once we've come off the interview, you can pop those in the comments anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Brilliant.
I'm writing a book as well, actually, at the moment, which is, again, it's all about vision boards and tapping, but that's, that's still a little way to go before that sees the light of day. So.
Fantastic. I'm also writing a book, which is up there on my vision board, in the centre of my vision board. It's going to be a book called Get My Sanity Back, and it's for mums who want to regain their calm, enjoy their kids more and get more done. And it's compiling everything that I've been working on up till now. So so we'll have to exchange book notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, it's been absolutely amazing and lovely chatting to you. Is there anything else that you feel that I've missed out that you'd love to share, or are we?
I think, yeah, so mum's perspective, I think just that whole self-talk with the children, just remembering, you know, not to limit them, be mindful of your language around children. That for me is really important. But also, yeah, just feel good. Do something to feel good. You know, for all of us, that's, you know, the place we always have to bring ourselves to. And there's so much stuff going on in the world. It's so easy to get off track. I'm quite a big fan of Esther Hicks and Abraham. So I think anyone, I think Esther Hicks's work goes so hand in hand with tapping. Talk about the emotional scale and all of that. She talks about, but actually you can do that with tapping. So I refer to Esther Hicks quite a bit. Sorry, I've just gone off track now. Yeah. Anyway, feel good. Feel good today. Go and do something right now to go and feel good.
Yeah, do that and then come back and tell us in the comments.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you, Tamara.
Lots
You're
of
welcome.
Good luck with your book.
Thank you. You too. Speak to you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.